Hello, I'm Cameron Walker and welcome to this week's edition of Inside the Palace on GBN Royal. First up, Prince William wants his homeless projects to become mainstream. On Friday, the Prince of Wales continued his mission to demonstrate homelessness can be ended in the United Kingdom, making it rare, brief and unrepeated. It's a 5-year plan spearheaded by the Royal Foundation and called Homewards. The Prince has persuaded Lloyds Bank to partner up with Homewards, and the High Street Bank has made £50 million available to small and medium-sized housing providers and charities. The organisations which will receive loans will also provide wraparound support to people at risk of homelessness, including mental health provision and education programmes. Previously, these housing providers have struggled to access funds, and on a visit to Bournemouth on Friday, Prince William visited an 11-bed housing scheme for people with mental health issues, which will benefit from Lloyds funding. This of course stems from Prince William's secret visits to homeless charities with his mother, Diana, Princess of Wales, when he was a boy in the 1990s, and he's cared about helping the homeless ever since, and to this day talks to his own children about supporting the homeless. Next up, Buckingham Palace makes unprecedented rule changes. Whenever I am invited into Buckingham Palace, the dress code is incredibly strict. For ladies, it's day dresses or trouser suits, although funnily enough, I'm not wearing that. And gentlemen must be smart with a jacket and, crucially, a tie. Whatever one's gender, absolutely no jeans and no trainers. So, where does Lycra sit into the Buckingham Palace dress code? Well, I've got the answer for you. In theory, it doesn't. But this week, on Wednesday, it was quite a surprise when 2 gladiators were invited into the palace, dressed in very tight-fitting material. Quite a sight for the Queen, who happily chatted to Nitro and Fire, whose real names are Harry and Montel. It was the One Show's Alex Jones who introduced the gladiators to the Queen. The Welsh presenter hosted the BBC's 500 Words competition, which received almost 44,000 entries, encouraging children of all abilities from across the UK to write. The Queen presented the medals to the young writers in Buckingham Palace's ballroom, and the winners will be announced next month. The Queen is passionate about promoting literacy in both children and adults and hopes better literacy skills could improve life prospects in the United Kingdom and around the world. Next, Prince William speaks out after a train nightmare. The irony wasn't missed. The Prince and Princess of Wales visited the Welsh town of Pontypridd earlier this week, celebrating with locals ahead of St David's Day. The future King and Queen made Welsh cakes with a local baker before handing their creations out to crowds who had gathered. Arguably, the most important part of their visit was speaking to flood victims devastated by storms at the start of 2025. They made a private visit to the home of butcher Kevin Kidner, whose home was damaged by flooding. And Kevin told us this about what the Prince of Wales plans to do.
They're going to try and do what they can to try and help us out in one sense, but it's all to do with what can they do with the river. Well, they said they're going to try and push it anyway.
The Prince and Princess also joined a meeting of local businesses who told the royals consistent flooding over a number of years has rendered their assets uninsurable. Ironically, all of these meetings were delayed by around 90 minutes because Prince William and Catherine themselves were stopped in their tracks by a further flood. The public train from London that they were on was diverted to avoid floodwaters, slowing down their journey. A very frustrated Prince William and Catherine arrived at Pontypridd's market much later than planned. The Prime Minister has pulled out his royal trump card, a smart political move in a game where President Trump has the upper hand. The President of the US has everything he wants: money, power, fame and influence. So what can Britain offer to strengthen the UK-US special relationship, progress with a tariff-free trade deal, and ensure Europe is protected from Russian aggression? Well, the answer is something money cannot buy, and that is access to the royal family. President Trump has a deep affection for the King and said it was a great honour to receive the personally signed invite from him during a meeting between Sir Keir Starmer and the President in the Oval Office. Take a look.
From His Majesty the King, a letter. He sent his best wishes and his regards, of course, but he also asked me to bear this letter and bring it to you. So can I present the letter from the King to you?
Thank you very much. Am I supposed to read it right now?
Yeah, please do.
I will do.
I've got to tell him what your reaction is, so I need to know. I need to know.
He is a great gentleman. Oh, that's well. Well, That is really nice. I must make sure his signature's on that. Because, otherwise, it's not quite as meaningful. It is, and that's quite a signature, isn't it? Beautiful.
This is a letter from His Majesty the King. It's an invitation for a second state visit. This is really special. This has never happened before. This is unprecedented. And I think that just symbolises the strength of the relationship between us. So this is a very special letter. I think the last state visit was a tremendous success.
It was.
His Majesty the King wants to make this even better than that. So this is truly historic, an unprecedented second state visit, and he wants to talk that through with you.
President Trump accepted the invitation, as you just saw, and it's understood there are also plans for an informal visit to Balmoral this summer. The only other sitting US president to receive an invite to the monarch's private Scottish retreat was President Eisenhower in 1959. The state's visit itself is also unprecedented, according to the Prime Minister, because never before has a US president received an invitation for a second state visit during their terms in office. This could indicate the importance the Labour government is placing on keeping President Trump on side, who is a Republican, of course, and wouldn't naturally agree with the centre-left politics of the Labour Party. But a lavish banquet at Windsor Castle and British military pomp and pageantry in his honour is something the President will probably embrace and would not want to refuse. This is the power of the King's soft diplomacy, an asset for the UK government, which can be deployed to elevate Britain on the world stage. Already this soft power appears to be paying off because President Trump and Sir Keir Starmer have agreed to begin work on a new US-UK trade deal at a time when the European Union is facing the prospect of economically damaging tariffs. President Trump has also appeared to back the Prime Minister's plan to give up sovereignty of the Chagos Islands and lease back the UK-US Diego Garcia military base, saying the deal would work out well. The King's soft power buttering up a royal-loving President Trump can only go so far, though. His Majesty remains above politics, and it is up to the UK government, led by the Prime Minister, to thrash out the political details of any deals with their US counterparts. Next, Queen Camilla has adopted a rescue puppy. The Queen revealed a very cute surprise during this week's trip to Canterbury to celebrate the work of the first English professional female author, Afra Ben. I was listening to Her Majesty inside Canterbury's library, covering the engagement for the Royal Rota, and she interacted with very cute service dogs. So, I understand that Mowgli was adopted from Battersea Dogs and Cats Home in London, of which Her Majesty is patron. She was born on Boxing Day to a half Jack Russell, half unknown mother and an unknown father. A spokesperson for Battersea Dogs and Cats Home told the Daily Mail, "We're pleased to confirm that Battersea has recently rehomed an 8-week-old Jack Russell Terrier cross female puppy called Mowgli to our patron, Her Majesty the Queen." The Queen has long been a supporter of Battersea's work. Thank you for watching. This has been Cameron Walker. Don't forget to subscribe to GBN Royal for more.